Welcome to On the Sideline. I'm your host, Keelan Lee. In this week's episode, we recap all the games from week 3, discuss if the Indianapolis Colts are now a playoff team, and why I was right about the Houston Texans, and plus give my honest thoughts about the Packers' loss to the Browns and more. Before we get started, make sure you hit the subscribe button, turn on that post notification bell, like this video, and comment down below if you think the Colts should win the AFC, it should or can win the AFC South. And without further ado, let's get into the video. All right, so before we start this video, I want to make a couple things clear. My NBA offseason grade video. That video is gonna come out this week. I'm thinking about gonna drop it tomorrow. All right, listen, I've been really busy these last couple of days. All right, so I apologize for that, but it will come out tomorrow. And my way too early NBA playoff teams for this upcoming season will be dropping next week. I know I've been really busy lately. But anyway, let's get started with our first game of week 3. We got the Dolphins and the Bills. And this game was actually close. Like, I watched the majority of this game. This game was like kind of a back and forth affair, but in the end, the best team won in the Bills. The Dolphins made it a game. They made it a game. Tua had 146 yards passing, 2 touchdowns and interception. Ollie Gordon II had a rushing touchdown. Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle had the 2 touchdowns. And then Tyrell Dotson and Bradley Chubb got to Josh Allen twice. Speaking of Josh Allen, Josh went for 213 yards passing, 3 touchdowns. James Cook had a rushing touchdown along with 108 yards rushing. Dalton Kincaid had a touchdown. Khalil Shakir had a touchdown. And I believe it was Elijah Moore, Tyrell Shavers, who hit the dagger for the first down. And then Terrell Bernard got the lone interception for the Bills. Next game up, we got the Bengals and Vikings. And I got to say, this was an absolute ass whooping. I mean, look at this. Jake Browning, 140 yards passing, a touchdowns, and 2 INTs. Samaje Perine had 21 touchdowns. Jamar Chase had 50 yards. Noah Fant had 26 yards. Drew Sample had the lone touchdown. And then defensively, they only got to Carson Wentz 3 times. As for the Vikings, I mean, Carson Wentz had an amazing game. 173 yards passing, 2 touchdowns. Jordan Mason had 116 yards rushing along with 2 touchdowns. Justin Jefferson had 75 yards receiving. TJ Hawkinson had a touchdown. Josh Oliver had a touchdown. And they got to Jake Browning 4 times in this game. And Isaiah Rodgers had 1 interception. And Josh Metellus had a interception as well. Peaking of the next morning game, we got the Texans and the Jags, and I don't even know what to say at this point. I'm gonna say what I'm about to say with the Texans later in this video, but CJ Stroud had 240 yards passing with a touchdown and 2 interceptions. Nick Chubb had only 30 yards rushing. Nico Collins had 140 yards receiving, and defensively, they only got to Trevor Lawrence twice. And Jalen Petrie had the lone interception. As for the Jags, I mean, Trevor had 222 yards passing and an interception. Travis Etienne had the touchdown. Bashal Tootin had a touchdown. Brenton Strange led all receivers, receiving groups, like wide receivers and tight ends and running backs, with 61 yards. And defensively, they only got to CJ Stroud only twice. And Antonio Johnson had an interception as well as Jordan Lewis. Peeking at the next morning game, we got the Colts and what the hell? Yeah, we got the Colts and the Titans. And I gotta say, I've been really impressed with Indy so far. I mean, Daniel Jones had a heck of a game. 228 yards rushing and 1 touchdown. Jonathan Taylor had 120 yards rushing and 3 touchdowns. And then the only touchdown reception was from Michael Pittman Jr., who I benched in fantasy this week, which I'm pissed about. And defensively, they got to Cam Ward 4 times. Taekwon Lewis had two. Quiddy Pay had a sack, and of course Neville Gallimore had a sack, and then Kenny Moore the second had an interception. As for Cam Ward, Cam had a good game. He had 29 yards throwing, a touchdown, interception. Tony Pollard had a touchdown. Alec Aylmore had a touchdown, but the receiving was led by Chig Okonkwo. And defensively, they didn't get after Daniel Jones not once. Peeking at the next game, we got the Raiders and the Commanders. And honest to God, this game made me look really, really dumb. You know, um, Gino had 200 yards passing, three touchdowns. Run game was shut down from Ashton Genty. Trey Tucker had himself a game. He had three touchdowns and 145 yards receiving. Max Crosby only was the lone sacker. It was just ugly. As for the Commanders, I mean, Marcus Mariota had a really good game. He had 270 yards passing and a touchdown. Jeremy McNichols had a touchdown. Marcus Mariota also rushed it in for a touchdown. Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt had a touchdown, and Luke McCaffrey had the lone touchdown. And defensively, they got after Geno 4 times. Next game, we got the Rams and the Eagles, and this game was actually kind of crazy, considering that the Eagles just scored 26 unanswered points. I mean, look at this. Matthew Stafford, 196 yards passing, two touchdowns, and an INT. The run game was shut down for 94 yards. Puka Nacua had himself day. He had 12 yards passing, but Devontae Adams and Kyron Williams both had a touchdown. And defensively, they got after Jalen Hurts 4 times. As for the Eagles, Jalen had a pretty good game. He had 226 yards passing, three touchdowns. He also ran in for the touchdown. And receiving was led by Dallas Goedert, A.J. Brown, and Devontae Smith. A.J. with 109 yards rushing, 60 yards passing, 60 yards receiving, and 33 yards passing. And all of them had a touchdown. And defensively, they only got to Matthew Stafford once. And Zach Bond got the lone interception. As for the next game, we got the Falcons and the Panthers. And honest to God, what was this? I mean, Michael Penix Jr. had 172 yards passing, two INTs. Bijan Robinson was shut down. Drake London was also shut down. And defensively, they only got to Bryce Young only once. As for the Panthers, I mean, Bryce had an okay game. He had 20 yards passing. Chuba Hubbard had led all rushing and 73 yards. Rico Dowdle had 30 yards rushing, but he also had a touchdown. Bryce Young also had a touchdown, and receiving was led by Tatori McMillan with 48 yards. And Mike Jackson and Charles Smith-Wade had the lone interception. Like, how? Next up, we got the Steelers and the Patriots. And honest to God, this game was actually, for the most part, pretty fun to watch. Like, I watched, probably the majority of this game. Like, I was splitting time with another game that you're probably going to see. And that is, I'll explain later. But anyway, Aaron had a pretty okay game. He had 139 yards passing, two touchdowns, and an interception. Kenneth Gainwell also had a rushing touchdown. Receiving was led by Jalen Warren with 34 yards. And Calvin Austin and DK Metcalf both caught a touchdown. And defensively, I think this was their best defensive game of the season. I mean, they got to Drake May 1, 2, 4, 5 times and picked him off once. Braden Nichols had the interception. But yeah. As for the Patriots, I mean, Drake May is continuing to get better. He had 268 yards passing, two touchdowns INT. Run game was shut down a little bit, but the real receiving was led by Hunter Henry with two touchdowns. And defensively, Robert Spillane had the interception, but they could not get after Aaron Rodgers. So, yeah. Oh no. Oh no. We got the Packers and the Steelers, and honest to God, my good friend Aiden Lauersworth, shout out you, dude. He was pissed, and so am I. I mean, look at this shit. Like 183 yards passing, a touchdown interception. Run game was non-existent. Our receiver was led by Matthew Golden for 52 yards. Yeah, good for him. And the lone touchdown was led by John Fitzpatrick with a touchdown. And defensively, they had a really good game, but again, like what was this? Two sacks by Rashawn Gary and Xavier McKinney had an interception. As for the Browns, I mean, Joe Flacco had a really bad game, 142 yards passing and an interception. Quinshawn Junkins had 94 yards rushing and a touchdown. David Njoku had 48 yards. And defensively, yeah, they got after Jordan Love like 5 times. It's nuts. I'm not gonna get into it. Anyway, peeking at the next game with the Jets and the Bucks, and honest to God, this game looked like this was gonna be an upset. I mean, Tyrod Taylor, 197 yards passing with 2 touchdowns and interception. He was also leading them in rushing with 48 yards. And then Garrett Wilson had the lone touchdown, as long as my boy Alan Lazard with the other touchdown. And defensively, they got after Baker Mayfield only once. But the better team won. Baker had himself a game. He had 126 yards, 233 yards passing. Run game was kind of shut down a little bit with 66 yards with Bucky Irvin and Emeka Buka at 85 yards receiving. And then Mike Evans had the lone touchdown. He did tweak his hamstring, which sucks because, man, he was balling out. And then defensively, they got to Tyrod Taylor 3 times. Peeking at the next game, we got the Broncos and the Chargers, and I've been conflicted with both teams. Like Broncos, I mean, I still have faith in the Broncos that they're going to be well. All right. I think they're going to be well. All right. But anyway, Bo Nix had an okay game. He had 153 yards passing with a touchdown. J.K. Dobbins had a rushing touchdown. Receiving led by Cortland Sutton with 118 yards and a touchdown. And defensively, despite Brandon Jones getting an interception, they couldn't do anything. Oh, wait. They got to Justin Herbert 4 times. As for the Chargers, I mean, Justin Herbert had a very good game. He had 300 yards passing with a touchdown and interception. Amarian Hampton had a touchdown. Prayers up to Najee Harris because, as many of you guys may have heard, he tore his Achilles and it's out for the season. So, man, prayers up for you, Najee. Dealing with so much. Keenan Allen had the lone touchdown for the Chargers, and defensively, they got after Bo Nix twice. Peeking at the next game, we got the Saints and the Seahawks, and this game was wild. I mean, Spencer Rattler, 218 yards passing, a touchdown interception. Alvin Kamara was non-existent with 42 yards rushing. Receiving was like meh with like Chris Olave with 57 yards. Jack Stoll had a touchdown, and defensively, they didn't get after Sam Darnold not once. As for the Seahawks, I mean, Sam Darnold had a really good game, 218 yards passing, 2 touchdowns. Kenneth Walker had 2 touchdowns. Jackson Smith-Njigba had a touchdown. Torrey Horton had a touchdown. And they got after, who was it? Spencer Rattler twice. And Darian Kendrick had the lone interception. Peeking at the next game, we got the Cowboys and the Bears. And this game felt really like back and forth. But then what is it? The Bears just went all out. As Kevin Holland would say in NBA 2K, they went for the throat. Dak had an okay game, 251 yards passing, a touchdown, 2 interceptions. It was obviously benched by Joe Milton, who added another interception. Receiving was led by Jake Ferguson with 82 yards. George Pickens had a touchdown. CeeDee Lamb did leave the game and did not return. It looks like it's a hamstring injury, I believe it is, which is not good for me because he was kind of doing some damage in my fantasy league. And defensively, they couldn't get after Caleb Williams, which was kind of crazy to say. As for the Bears, I mean, this was probably Caleb's best game of his career. That's saying, I know it's saying a lot, but I think this was his best game. 298 yards passing, 4 touchdowns. Uh, Luther Burton had himself a game with a touchdown. Romain Dunze had a touchdown. DJ Moore had a touchdown. Cole Kmet had a touchdown. Tremaine Edmonds had an INT. Kevin Byard had an interception, and they got to Dak twice. Peeking at the last game, we got the Cardinals and the 49ers. And even though I hate the 49ers, and my cousin Sam, if you're watching this, which I hope you are, I really don't like this team, but a win is a win. I mean, Kyler had an okay game, 159 yards passing and a touchdown. James Conner, I mean, sad for him, man. He's out again with a really bad ankle injury. So Trey Benson carried the load. Trey McBride had the lone touchdown. Marvin Harrison Jr. was non-existent. And they only got to Mac Jones, excuse me. I know he said Brock Purdy only once. And Dorian Taylor Demerson only got the lone interception. As for the 49ers, I mean, Mac Jones had a good game, 284 yards passing, touchdown and interception. Christian McCaffrey was shut down. Ricky Pearsall had probably his best game, 117 yards passing and 0 touchdowns. And defensively, they got after Kyler only once by Bryce Huff. Prayers out to Nick Bosa, man. Torn ACLs are no joke. And finally, we got this Chiefs and the Giants. And honest to God, I see this everywhere on like I see this on my favorite sports shows called First Things First. If you haven't seen it, like look it up on the YouTube. It's a really good show, but sometimes hard to watch. But anyway, Mahomes had a really good game, 224 yards passing and a touchdown. Kareem Hunt had a touchdown, you know. Tyquan Thornton had a touchdown, and defensively, they got after Russell Wilson twice and picked him off twice. Jalen Watson with a touchdown, Christian Roland Wallace had an interception. As for, you know, as for the Giants, I mean, Russ had a really bad game, two interceptions. Cameron Scaboo had a touchdown. And he was also led them in receiving. And defensively, they just had to do enough. They only got to what's his name? Patrick Mahomes only once. But yeah. Anyway, peeking at our final game, we got the Lions and the Ravens. And honest to God, this game was really fun to watch. Like this game felt like a back and forth kind of game, but the Lions won. I mean, Jared Goff had a really good game as well, a touchdown, but threw for only 200 yards. David Montgomery had 2 touchdowns. Jahmyr Gibbs had 2 touchdowns. Amon-Ra St. Brown had a touchdown, and they got after Lamar 7 times. Let me repeat that 7 times. That is crazy. As for the Ravens, I mean, Lamar had himself a good game, 218 yards passing, 3 touchdowns. Derrick Henry was shut down, but he did have a touchdown. Mark Andrews had 2 touchdowns. Rashawn Bateman had a touchdown, and then they couldn't get after the Lions offense, which is kind of crazy. But that is my week 3 reactions. What are your guys' thoughts on week 3? Let me know in the comment section below. So we're going to talk now about the Colts because, as many people know, they're 3-0 right now. And a lot of people are saying that should the Colts be now the favorites to win the AFC South? All right. And I've had some time. It's been a couple days since I've really thought about it. And my answer is this. They have been playing really well, but no, I don't think they should be the favorite. All right. Because first of all, I'm going to be honest with you. They should have been 2-1. And I'm not saying that because I'm a Broncos fan or I have like friends who are Broncos fans, but still. This team hasn't played anyone good yet outside of the Broncos. But let's be honest here, the Broncos got hoed in week 2. Let's be honest here. All right. I do think though that the Colts should be considered as the second best team, finished second in that division. All right. I do not trust the Texans at all. The Titans are in a rebuild. So I think the Colts should be, as of right now, the second best team in that division. Unless the Texans like pull off a miracle. I truly think the Jags like have the talent. They have the talent to be one of the best teams in the league, but I have to see them play against better competition. And as of I'm recording this video right now, they haven't. So that's that. But now speaking of the Texans, they're 0-3 right now. They lost to the Jags. A lot of people are saying, are they in trouble? What's going on with the Texans, stuff like that. I'm not gonna lie, and I don't like diminishing like players or like fan bases, but like this is why, folks, if you guys remember, I think this was back in what, April or like early September, early this month. I said that the Texans were not going to win the AFC South because of their offensive line. All right. And it turns out I was right. Yes. I know Texans fans are going to say, but Keyhoon, our defense has been amazing this year. Yeah, no duh. All right, your defense is one of the most one of the most nastiest defenses in the league. But guess what? You need to be a balanced football team. I mean, look at the Eagles. They had a really good offense, and they had like I think one of the best defenses last year statistically. Like they were top 10 in every statistical category. But they also had an offense to when the defense was in trouble and they were getting hoed, they had an offense to be like, hey, we got you guys. The Texans do not have that. And I feel so bad for CJ Stroud because I'm a CJ Stroud guy. I love CJ. I love D'Amico Ryans and what he's done for that team. But man, if they don't turn this around, I'm afraid D'Amico is going to lose his job. I have this weird feeling, but it's not my opinion. I'm not the general manager. I'm not the owner. We'll see what happens if they could bounce back. But yeah, that's all I got to say. So, what are you guys' thoughts? Do you think the Colts should be the favorites to win the AFC South? And do you think the Texans can turn it around, or is the season already over? Let me know in the comment section below. All right, so now we're going to get into our week 4 NFL. Actually, no, we're going to briefly talk about if the Chiefs are back after, they beat the Giants. And I know there's a lot of people are saying that the Chiefs are back, guys, folks, they beat the Giants. Not to diminish any of my friends like who are Giants fans, but come on now. Like flexing that you beat the Giants is like telling someone that like you beat your brother or like you beat your sibling in an arm wrestling like contest for the very first time. Like it's like it's so small. Like come on now. All right. Now I will say this though. The Chiefs Ravens game this weekend is probably, in my opinion, the most interesting game this weekend because I think whoever loses that game, I think they're probably going to get screwed. All right. But hey, it is what it is. Congratulations, Chiefs. We'll see what happens. All right. Moving on, we are going to be now moving on to our week 4 picks. Last week, I went 7-9 last week. 7-9, totally my record to 33-18. I believe, no, 33-15. All right, so let's get into our week 4, NFL picks. Let's get started. All right, so starting off week 4, we got the Seahawks and the Cardinals. I am going to take the Seahawks in this one. I think they have the much better offense, and I think they have the much better defense. I do expect Arizona to keep it close, but, who am I to judge? All right, I'm going to say 23-20. Moving on to our next game, we got the first of many international games. We got the Vikings and the Steelers. I want to pick the Steelers so bad because I want Aaron to have a good game, but I can't. I am going to take the Vikings to win this game. I think Kevin O'Connell is going to figure out a way to like shut down that Steelers defense. And I think Brian Flores is going to do something tricky. Give me the Vikings to win though, 23-21. Next up, we got the Eagles and the Bucks. I'm actually going to take the Bucks to win this game. I think the Bucks have the Eagles number as of late. I think they can shut down Saquon Barkley. And I know that's going to leave Jalen to throw that rock, which he did last week. But, you know, give me the Bucks to win this game 28-27. Next game up, we got the Titans and the Texans. Do I have to pick a winner for this one? You know what? I'm going to take the Texans to win this game, man. The Texans got to win this game. If they don't win this game, they're done. I don't care. They are done. All right. Moving on, we got the Panthers and the Patriots. This is a very interesting game. Very interesting game. I mean, I am going to take the Patriots to win this game. I just think they have more talent than the Panthers. I do think it's going to be a close game, but give me the Patriots to win this game 24-17. Next game up, we got the Chargers and the Giants. As I'm recording this video right now, Jackson Dart is the quarterback for the New York Giants. Sorry, Giants fans, you're not going to win against the Chargers. I mean, I do expect the Giants to keep it close because that defense is going to be annoying. All right, but I'm going to take the better quarterback in Justin Herbert over Jackson Dart. Maybe Jackson has a pretty good game, but give me the Chargers to win this game 30-17. Next game up, we got the Commanders and the Falcons. I'm gonna take the Commanders in this one. I think the Commanders, you know, I think the Commanders are the better team, than the Falcons. I do expect the Falcons to put up points than last week, but in the end of the day, give me the Commanders to win this game 23-17. Next, we got the Saints and the Bills. I'm going to take the Bills. All right, better offense, better defense, better quarterback. Like, there's nothing I can say. Next up, we got the Browns and the Lions. Now, this is an underrated kind of game because the Browns have a really good defense. All right. So I'm very curious to see. However, I am going to take the Lions to win this game. All right. I do expect the Browns to put up a fight because of that defense. But like I said with the Texans, you need it to be a balanced football team. The Browns don't have that. Give me the Lions to win this game 27-17. Next game up, we got the Colts and the Rams. This is a good one. I am going to take the Rams to win this game. I think they're pissed off. They're pissed off of what happened last week against the Eagles. And unfortunately, Colts fans, you're going to have to deal with the wrath of the big four and Matthew Stafford, Kyron Williams, Puka Nacua, and Devontae Adams. I do expect the Colts to put up points, but give me the Rams to win this game 30-26. Next game up, we got the Jags and the 49ers. This is actually my upset pick of the week. I am going to take the Jags to win this game. I think this is a let it rip kind of game where Brian Thomas Jr., Travis Hunter is going to unleash hell on the 49ers. And the 49ers, defense, they're rattled with injuries right now. Give me the Jags to win this game, though, 27-24. Next up, we got the Ravens and the Chiefs. I am going to take the Ravens to win this game. Like the Rams in this aspect, they are pissed off after what happened this past Monday against the Lions. And I think Derrick Henry is going to have a great game. Lamar is going to have a great game. And I think defensively, they're going to get after Patrick Mahomes and shut him down. Give me the Ravens to win this game in probably the highest scoring game of the week, 33-30. Next game up, we got the Bears and the Raiders. I mean, this is a very interesting matchup. Who do I take? I'm going to take the Bears, unfortunately. I do think the Raiders can keep it close because of that defense, but like I said before, you need a good offense. And offensively, the Raiders, they have good offense, but they don't have enough to keep up with the Bears. Give me the Bears to win, though, 24-23. And next up, we got, oh, yes, America's game of the week, in my opinion, Packers and the Cowboys. You guys know who I'm rolling with. I'm rolling with my Packers to win this game. We are pissed off. And Dak, I'm sorry. Ryan Schottenheimer, I'm sorry. But as I always say, it's time to cause chaos. There's a surge coming. Give me the Packers to win this game 35-21. Next up, we got the Jets and the Dolphins. I'm going to take the Dolphins. Sorry, Dotto. I think the Dolphins are a much better team than the Jets. The Dolphins put up a fight against the Bills, you know. So yeah. And finally, we got the Bengals and the Broncos. I am going to take the Broncos to win this one. They're upset. The Broncos are upset on how they played last week, and I think they're going to prove it. Give me the Broncos to win 27-19. And that is my week 4 NFL predictions. Hope you guys enjoyed this video because I enjoyed making it. If you did, please get a like, subscribe, turn that post notification bell. A reminder, my off-season grades for every single NFL team will be dropped tomorrow. And then next week, I will do my way too early NBA playoff teams for the upcoming season and more. Hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your day. Stay safe, stay warm, stay active, and I'll see you guys next time. I'm out. Peace.